Now continuing on with the second part of the video, this next scene showing the reptilian hands holding puppet strings in darkness represents Satan. Meanwhile Satan representing the snake which is of a reptilian class. On his ring finger he has a gold $ ring. Except there is only one bar through the S, which symbolizes the fact that today in the 21st century, there is no gold backing the currency system in most countries. Dollar signs with one strike through them symbolize the fiat monetary system. Years ago there were two bars through a dollar symbol, and this meant that the currency was backed by gold. When currencies cease being backed by gold, only one bar is used to strike through the dollar sign. Also, you'll notice if you look closely that the S is actually a snake. It has an eye at the top, and the tail is slimmer as it reaches the end. It also signifies that he is in control of the currency and the global economy. And notice he has his hands in blood while having a bleeding heart on his right index finger, which symbolizes dominion and satanic blood ritual sacrifice. And with these two he is able to control them behind the scenes. Thus we can see why it is written in Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And we also see why he's the god of this world with a lowercase g. As it says in 2 Corinthians 4:4. In whom the god of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine unto them. And here we see Satan controlling Bush through evil spirits, as that's what the strings symbolize. As you can also see his pupils are turned up, signifying that he is being possessed by demonic spirits. And while being possessed we see him do a pentagram ritual dance on a Freemasonic checkerboard floor in the classroom. Which signifies the black ritual magic which was performed in the elementary classroom minutes before planes crashed into the Twin Towers. As you will see in this clip, the teacher is given instructions to teach the children to pronounce specific words in order.
Get ready to read all these words on this page without making a mistake. Look at the letter at the end and remember the sound it makes. Get ready.
Kite.
Yes, kite. Get ready to read this word the fast way. Get ready.
Kid.
Yes, kid. Sound it out. Get ready.
Kid.
Sound it out. Get ready.
Kid.
What word?
Kid.
Yes, kid. Boys and girls, sound this word out. Get ready.
Seal.
What word?
Seal.
Yes, steel. Read these words the fast way.
Notice over here she says, read the words the fast way. So when they pronounce the word playing, it sounds like they are saying the word plane.
Get ready.
Plane.
Yes, playing. Get ready.
Must.
Yes, must. Let's read these words the fast way without making a mistake.
Then she tells the students to read all the words the fast way. So it sounds like kite, hit, steal, plane, must.
Get ready.
Kite.
Yes, kite. Get ready.
Kit.
Yes, kit. Get ready.
Seal.
Yes, steel. Get ready.
Plane.
Yes, plane. Get ready.
Must.
Yes, must. Boys and girls, pick your reader up from under your seat. Open your book up to.
Also, notice the children were asked to take out their books from under their chairs. This essentially was a bowing ritual as they all reached down to get their books. The 5 specific words that had to be read before the deep bow is obedience, but which the children did not understand. And right after they were finished reading the words and bowing down, Bush was told that the plane had crashed into the Twin Towers. But of course, the teacher was unaware of it as she was told what to teach the children on that day. And like I said before, they have to announce their plans before it happens. It is part of their black ritual magic. Exactly the same way Lady Gaga's music 911, when she says my biggest enemy is me, Papa 911, and when her fans keep repeating it in their head or out loud, they are actually giving them more power to achieve their evil plans, and thus we see the war ended exactly on 11/9, or we should say 9/11, because in Armenia, you write the day first and then the month, so it comes up to 9/11. Here we see a dunce cap on his head which was formerly used as a punishment for slow learners in school. And as you can see over here, he is having a hard time remembering the things that he has been programmed to say, as familiarity with rituals can also cause forgetfulness. And on his left is the map of the United States. And the pinned locations are where the tragic events have happened. The first one is the Oklahoma City bombing in 1995. The second one is New York when the planes crashed into the Twin Towers in 2001. The third one is New Orleans Hurricane Katrina that took place in 2005. And the last one is the New Mexico oil spill. The largest oil spill in U.S. history, which occurred on April 20, 2010. On top of the map you will notice an owl. It represents the Bohemian Grove, which is a private ceremony that is held in front of a giant owl by the so-called world leaders to decide the plans of the future of the world. Owl also represents Minerva, who is the goddess of wisdom, thus they call themselves the Illuminati or the Enlightened Ones. Owl can also be found on the dollar bill, signifying that they are in control of the currency. The snowflake on the bottom of the map represents the nuclear winter as mentioned in part 1 of the video, but inside of it is a star or hexagram, which is the Star of David, symbolizing the nation of Israel. And when you combine all of these together, you can see that Israel or Rothschild are the ones making planned tragic events to happen in the world. The shark on the board represent the loan sharks, the powerful economic power which can cause major financial crisis. Notice when Bush comes up with an idea and right when he says shame on. His left pointing finger is now directly in front of a stream of ejaculation fluid spurting out from a male genitalia drawn on the blackboard behind him. That is symbolic of how the use of sexual images is often embedded into all forms of advertising and any form of media where those behind the advertising intend to indoctrinate us with their way of thinking. Sex is a fundamental human desire and need, and by having these images briefly incorporated into all visual media, we can subliminally be programmed to want whatever it is they are pushing on us at the time. The male genitalia discharging semen also represents the artillery weapon, which is a symbol of destruction, thus we see the house on the left is on fire. And that house signifies family values, thus we see the destruction of family values from subliminal programming and what the media pushes on us. The clock on top of the board which shows 12 midnight represents the doomsday clock, which shows us how close we are to a man-made catastrophe or the end of the world due to a climatic change or a nuclear war, as mentioned in part 1 of the video.
We are closer to doomsday than ever before, according to the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists. They created the doomsday clock at the University of Chicago and based the countdown to midnight on how much time civilization has left. 2 years ago, they moved the clock to 2 minutes to midnight, closer than it had been since 1953 when the United States and Soviet Union successfully tested hydrogen bombs. Now they've moved it to 100 seconds to midnight, the closest it's been since being created following World War II. The reasons why are political leaders, ending of nuclear arms agreement between the United States, Iran, and Russia, and failure to address climate change.
And to left of the clock, we see a human evolution from fish to enlightenment, or better yet transhumanism, as that's where we are headed towards. And Elon Musk's Neuralink is going to be the gateway for that.
Musk suggests that Neuralink will facilitate his mission to merge humans with artificial intelligence and subsequently save the human race from AI. Musk sees only one way of escaping the impending doom of an AI-facilitated human extinction, and that is to somehow merge our own intelligence with machine intelligence. Without realizing, we are all already somewhat merged with machine intelligence by merely owning a smartphone and having access to the internet. With the World Wide Web at our fingertips, we are countless times smarter than without. To paint a picture for you, with the help of Neuralink, you'll be able to do everything that your computer or smartphone can, but directly through thought. If you need to answer a question, your brain will just know it, because it has untapped access to the internet, just like how you currently have untapped access to your own knowledge. With Neuralink, you'll automatically know everything that you'd usually need to ask without even having to pop the question. Date, time, weather, geographical location, Brad Pitt's height in inches, anything. But Neuralink is not all about information. It's also about interaction and communication. Because the embedded AI can wirelessly transmit electrode signals, users will essentially be able to communicate with other computers and chip-wearing people with mind power alone. This communication will be almost instant.
Although the idea of transhumanism sounds fascinating to some, it is another form of deception to turn people into machines and have complete control over them. As it is written in Daniel 2:43. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. But they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Notice the camera is only showing the hangman and the word evil on this scene, and when spelled backward, it spells love, and since it is known that God is love, then the inverse of love means the inverse meaning of God, which is evil, and the symbol for that is the goat in an inverted pentacle. And over here on the board we see the word evolution, and next to it is a hangman with a left leg missing, which looks like the letter D, and the word devolution is a process of decline, something that has gone from great to good, good to bad, or excellent all the way to horrible. The exact opposite of evolution. Perfectly describing the times that we are in right now, instead of evolving, humans are devolving mentally, and that is because we are being lied to and manipulated by the media and the news as they promote the false sense of evolution. Also, in the word evolution, the letters LTN are capitalized, while the letters UIO are missing. Yet the letter O is only written once, proving the whole concept of evolution is wrong. And sometimes the best way to know the truth is believe the opposite of what the media tells you. The bottom of the board you will notice Newton's third law, signifying that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. And in this case, for example, if the media tells you that there is a coronavirus that's spreading, then you're going to be worried and start wearing a mask. So their action is going to create your reaction. And your reaction is going to depend on what action they want to push on you. And to the right of it we see a picture of a brain splitting into two parts by lightning. The right hemisphere is responsible for emotional part of the mind. And the left is for the analytical or logical part of the mind. And normally these two work in harmony and unity together. And if the function of the two hemispheres of the brain is separate, then the person's personality becomes disharmonious. And notice the dragon, which represents Satan, has its tongue on the emotional part of the brain, signifying that it has got hold of the emotional side. And through that side he seduces people with music, movies to further his agenda, and leaving left side of the brain idle. And us being emotionally weak, we give into the fleshly side and do things that otherwise we would not want to do logically. Thus we can see why it says in Romans 7:15. For that which I do I allow not. For what I would, that do I not, but what I hate, that do I. And here George Bush is having trouble remembering his famous Tennessee speech.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says,
Fool me once, fool me once,
fool me once,
shame on,
shame on,
shame on you, shame on you.
shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Fool me, can't get fooled again, can't get fooled again.
And right after he says, can't get fooled again, he then shows his devil horn hand signs to the public, calling for Satan to transform him into Obama, signifying that people won't be taking him as a fool anymore, as Obama takes his presidency, and where Bush has failed, Obama will succeed in deceiving the masses with his charming smile and speech. Thus you see the graduation hat. Then we see him wearing Freemasonic hand gloves, proving that he's the same puppet, but with a different body. We also see a teleprompter which tells him what to say and do, signifying that he's under control of the Freemasons. Here Obama's red cheek along with the mole represents the transit of Venus in front of the sun. And as the camera shows the back of the classroom, we see that Obama has deceived almost everyone except for the girl. We also see a protective circle surrounding the girl. And that symbolizes that she is protected even though she is sitting on a Freemasonic floor. Her white clothing represents innocence and purity. And if you look closely you will notice a flower on her left ear, symbolizing that she is married or taken. Thus we can conclude that she is the bride of Christ. The imagery and symbolism of marriage is applied to Christ and the body of believers known as the church. The church is comprised of those who have trusted in Jesus Christ as their personal savior and have received eternal life. Christ, the bridegroom, has sacrificially and lovingly chosen the church to be his bride, Ephesians 5:25-27. Just as there was a betrothal period in biblical times during which the bride and groom were separated until the wedding, so is the bride of Christ separate from her bridegroom during the church age. Her responsibility during the betrothal period is to be faithful to him and not bite the apple or take the mark. And the apple that she is holding represents the mark that while being tempted she did not take a bite. The same way millions of people holding their bitten Apple iPhone in their hands, not knowing that it is also a precursor to the mark of the beast, as it is no coincidence that the first Apple computer was sold for $666. And as you already know, 666 is the mark of the beast. And just like some people unknowingly bought the bitten apple, so will they unknowingly take the real mark, which is the vaccine and the chip implant, thus be deceived, just like in the movie Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Then the devil will sit back and laugh knowing how he deceived humanity yet once again. On the other hand, if you don't bite the apple, instead follow the white rabbit, which is a symbol of purity and rebirth.
Follow the white rabbit. Yeah. Sure. I'll go.
Thus you will go down the rabbit hole in search of the truth. And as you keep searching for the truth, then you will eventually find it and realize that everything you have learned or have been taught by the media, the news and the world in general, were nothing but lies. And then you will finally awaken from your sleep, thus be transformed.
What?
See for yourself.
Why, that's me. I'm asleep. Don't let her get away. Alice, wake up. Please wake up, Alice. Alice. Please wake up, Alice. 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 Alice.
And at the rapture, the church will be united with the bridegroom, and the official wedding ceremony will take place, and with it the eternal union of Christ and his bride will be actualized. Revelation 19:7-9, 21:1-2. And that's what the exit sign symbolizes. And those in the back who took the mark are going to be left behind, thus we see them surrounded by fences in concentration camps, same as the goat we saw in part 1 of the video. And that is the consequence for taking the mark or biting the apple. And then we see the girl in great sadness as she drops the apple. Then we see the letters L written in black and the letter C in white. The letter L in black could symbolize Lucifer, while the letter C in white could mean Christ. Then the apple stops rolling as it hits Obama's feet, and then it splits into two parts right on the letter C, then the seeds merge with each other and form a lotus flower. The lotus roots reside in mud, while the flower submerges itself every night beneath the water and then re-blooms to all its glory the next morning. This life cycle of daily resurrection symbolizes rebirth and spiritual enlightenment. And just like the flower resides in the mud, so does the girl reside in the Freemasonic world system. Yet is able to awaken no matter her surroundings, as long as she doesn't bite the apple, but follows the white rabbit, leading to spiritual awakening, thus resurrecting. And just as it is written in 1 Corinthians 15, verse 50-54.
Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, Death is swallowed up in victory.
Now we also see a golden coin under Obama's shoe, which is an old Israel shekel coin of 1981. Symbolizing greed and striving for wealth at all costs, which stops the natural aspiration of people to achieve freedom and spiritual awakening. And Obama, seeing that resurrection is near, he starts to become nervous and afraid because he knows once the church is raptured out, the Great Tribulation is about to start.